I'm quite enthusiastic about sharing my perspective on when I frame this as a can AI actually break the barriers to eliminate global energy poverty? Now, that's a bit of a tall order, as you could think. You would see, I mean, who am I? And I've worked in this area around universal energy access, the energy poverty question. Well, over the last decade, we founded the Affordable Energy for Humanity Consortium with Joaquin, who is present here with KIT in Germany. And the intent here is really intent of our work over time has been, how can we bring in the power, let's call it, or the scope and capability of science, technology, to this difficult question of providing energy access to the billions who don't have it. So I'll give you the context in a moment, which is something similar to what Dan shared last week, but this is my perspective, and but really then get at the question of, so what are the barriers and what can AI do, and where do I see the promise here? I think that's the more interesting part. Let me walk you through a little bit of the problem definition, if you wish, or what is the problem. And the problem is large patches of this world at night. The satellite image that you see here is darkness, and what that darkness means is people do not have access to energy access, and that's a very large proportion of the world's population, essentially about a third of humanity, but nothing. It was extremely well summarized in a quip which I like to quote, and I have done so. Hans Rosling, the famous Swedish statistician, doctor, summarized it this way, and it kind of stuck in my mind. He has passed away since, but his book Factfulness is something I would recommend. And he put it this way: he says 1.5 billion people in this world have both a light bulb and a washing machine. The next 4 billion only have a light bulb, and the bottom billion, 1.5 billion, have neither. So that adds up to 7 billion. But it's a nice way of saying, and what he means by you have a light bulb and a washing machine, if you look at the power requirements of, that's our world, that's the world we live in, and we have full access to energy, level of energy access. So here is the world in darkness, and the so-called geography of energy inequality looks something along these lines. And what we have here is, 2.5 billion people, give or take, no access to clean cooking and heating facilities. So that's your 38% of the population in the red part of the map here, which is really sub-Saharan Africa and parts of Asia. And if you look at electricity access, that's about 1 billion now. The numbers have improved somewhat. They go up and down around that billion mark. A large number again in Africa. And you might say, well, okay, and so what? And so what is really the truly consequential thing. And the one that translates very easily into, and again, a memorable number I leave with people, around 4 billion. This slide shows 3.5 million people annually. This is World Health Organization sort of stats, die from household air pollution due to inefficient combustion. And the inefficient combustion is really related to open source cooking, huts, and direct relationship to very high levels of mortality. That's one. There's a whole host of other debilitating aspects of lack of energy access that translates into a life that is well, let's just put it this way, no good. 95% of this level of access issue is really sub-Saharan Africa, and that kind of gives you a sense of the picture. Here is the culprit. I think Dan showed a similar picture, but I didn't intervene last week when he was talking. Here, the TLUDs, the top lift updraft biogasifiers, is a solution that has no pollution associated with it. But let's not go into solutions yet. There are some credible low-cost options that could come to get at this important question of direct relationship between energy poverty, health impacts, and so on. And here is another picture. It's kind of my way of showing that quality of energy matters, and that's where electricity or electrical access matters. There is energy, what I would call ugly forms of energy. It may be vast or large amounts. If these girls are carrying, wood, which you can measure it in the order of 60 kilowatt hours of energy. That would be the weight that they're carrying. And these guys that, holding up coal on the bicycles, again, a larger amount of energy. So it's not just the amount, but it is the quality of energy transferred to something. And this gentleman here holding a smartphone has probably access to the world's entire knowledge base, and he's consuming milliwatt levels of energy on his cell phone. And what it does is enable him to do things that were inconceivable. So moving up the ladder in terms of energy and energy quality is also an important part, not just the amount of energy that you can have access to. And we had done some interesting stuff with Dan and others through the MacArthur Foundation to try and get a $100 million grant to really get at the question of energy access in displacement camps or refugee camps around the world. 70 million people live in these conditions, and the UNHCR struggles with budgets trying to get them essentially. It's dirty diesel and generators and nothing but problems. And so can clean energy get at the question of providing energy access in very difficult circumstances globally? And the sad part of these displacement camps is their life expectancy is what, 20, 25 years. They are a fixture, and the world is not in a good place that way. And so our ideas were around what sorts of clean energy solutions can be brought to play that would at least solve that part of the problem. And then there's a much larger problem of the billion plus who have no access they don't live anywhere close to the grid, and it's a difficult situation. So this sets the sort of broad picture around energy access, its importance, what it has done to quality of life of a very large group of the population in the world. And so we can ask the question, well, what can innovation do? Innovation, and how can it drive affordable energy for global poverty reduction? And I bring this up from a recent picture that Anne and I've done on a BSIA publication, where if you accept that innovation is at the core of it, but okay, nice words, then what? So there is the digital world, which you will, what I would call the core enablers of delivering the suites of technology solutions that, and it's the energy information, transformative technologies. So you got the core enablers, which are your AI, data-driven, and then some sort of mechanisms and policies that help allow that to be used within the circle of transformative technologies that would then get to the broad picture of whether it's affordable energy for poverty reduction or health improvement or any of the larger sustainable development goals that we may aspire. So the link between innovation, AI, sort of governance, and then subsequent transformative technologies is really the intent of that picture, to show that we can work our way in and out, in outwards. And when we come to energy access in remote communities, poor communities, here are kind of your four general dimensions or bucket areas of knowledge, let's call it. On number one, of course, to have the right generation devices, materials, advancements in various technologies, and that continues, but that needs to be integrated. To be able to deliver at a systems level, so that would be your microgrids for dispersed power and so on. And then the ICT, the information communication technologies, allow that kind of energy system convergence that gets at the basic components, integrates it into workable microgrids, through data. And then there's the much larger and important subject, which is around the environmental and human dimensions of energy transition. We can talk about that in a moment, but not to be ignored. So these are big picture aspects that we need to keep in mind if you say, I would like to be able to solve the problem of providing a level of energy access to the most disadvantaged and dispersed in the world. Now, these are my creation. I call them my 10 commandments. What is it that you'll be looking for in a solution that will get somewhere close to it, even if you get 7, 8 of these right, which is of course obvious, low cost. They have to be robust, durable, compact, easy to install, transport, modular. You don't require a lot of ongoing maintenance and so on, because imagine yourself in the darkness of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or even up north in Canada. System doesn't work, something fails. There isn't a supporting infrastructure to fix and operate. So these are your simple test ideas, if you wish, that might come close to it. Here, just an example. I'm not selling anything here, but much innovation is actually happening in this area around how we could build up systems in a modular way, step at a time, to match the needs, which tend to be diverse and different, and then so it's building it up, and these are IoT-enabled smart energy system. When I talk of IoT, or information communication technologies, we are now beginning to work in an area where you can do pretty serious geospatial planning using satellite imagery to be able to get at the question or definition of system design, specific system design, based on information that you can draw from, without the massive, intrusive, costly, manual, check the sites, evaluate, do all the things. Can we push all that cost structure out through extremely advanced utilization of satellite imagery, data, algorithms, manipulating all that to create systems that can simply be delivered at a much lower cost than it would take otherwise? That's vision, if you wish. So here, the idea is that the potential of AI technology is the analytics, bringing together a range of interdisciplinary research expertise is the way to get at this question, larger than life question of what I call global energy poverty. And the benefits of AI that I've been able to delve into, and which is where I think there is hope and there is much potential here, is the question of, right from planning, concept, design, operational efficiency, better management, even after you installed a system, how do you know it's working? What are the interventions level that you can do remotely, and so on? None of that can happen or would be possible without the kind of data-driven support to system implementation. And where AI comes in, and it is of course very recent, as we all know, is the capability of they're learning models. So once you know something, it will integrate it and build on it and build on it. And the call it wishful thinking, hope, expectation is that would help drive down costs in a way that would be a serious improvement to breaking the barriers. That's the one, because data and AI tools, in essence, you could argue a kind of zero marginal cost once you're able to do the. I won't get into system design, but the idea is you need to be able to have scalable systems for deployment. So pick any GPS coordinate anywhere in the world, pick a refugee camp, pick a distressed area, pick a place that you would like a system to be delivered. How can you do that? A system that is clean, that would be sustainable. And in this, I've just highlighted here the challenges of scalability of the different geographies. How do you standardize? What are the modeling limitations? Various technical aspects. And can we now use AI tools to cut away at or reduce the cost around some of this? And so we actually have a fairly important or major proposal in front of the federal government around of our NSERC agency to look to position AI for smart off-grid renewable systems, and we would use satellite-based geospatial planning and deployment. And once we're able to nail down the various tools and methods, we can be confident that we can do predictive maintenance, we can extend life service, do some real-time optimization, and so on. And colleagues and others who work in this area realize that this is where we may have the greatest bang for the buck, because otherwise the systems are too time consuming, too costly, and so on. I can go on about sort of different solutions, but these are pictures, images to give you a sense of the various solutions, the swarm connecting even microgrids or picogrids, we call them, at the distant levels, use of solar panels for water irrigation. That solar suitcase is for doing life-saving interventions at medical clinics, and it's portable and so on. HITCH is a platform we developed here at University of Waterloo to deliver educational platforms in remote communities with no access to only electricity and so on. You bring a light to a classroom and you light up the mind's kind of vision, if you wish. TLUD is a concept for using local materials, corn husks and waste, organic waste, put it into this container, which is biogasifier, and you can not only cook with. There's a slide presentation I have is earn while you cook. It will produce biochar and a whole bunch of useful products that would empower women to set up businesses and use local resources, and from a health standpoint, a very positive solution. One of the many. So there you go. That's kind of the suite of solutions. Here are some of the various technical papers and so on that you don't need to but the type of work we do that we believe will help